Hi, welcome back to the channel where my dog is going to come in and say hi. Say hi to Magnus, everybody. I wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone that has been so positive on the articles that were posted. And I wanted to kind of talk about why positive prepping articles are important. A lot of people said I'm a red flag, or they were upset or irritated for the fact that mainstream media picked up one of my TikToks, one of my stories. I mean, I've been on the internet doing this for 5 years, and I have been published on the New York Post, the US Sun, the Daily Mail, now MSN, now Fox Network, a bunch of other places that I have been published. Sorry, the wind is rattling on the door, and there is a big echo in here, but it is shaded. It's a lot cooler in here than it is out there. It's like 96 degrees. So we're gonna just take a beat off and just sit here and just talk a little bit. One of the reasons why I agreed to do that article, it was an interviewing kind of a humanitarian piece. They wanted to know a little bit about my family and why I do what I do. And at the end of the day, this is a lot of practical preparedness, not just doomsday, but practical preparedness. When I get interviewed by this, I know in the back of my heart and in my head that they are going to try to twist it to make us as preppers look as crazy as possible. That is one of their goals, because a soft story doesn't sell. It doesn't. And they want that hook, that grab, that drama, especially on the internet and in television. And I'm so tired of us seeing preppers be made out to be lunatics and crazy, and that what we're doing is pointless, and that we have a mental disorder or whatever the story is going to be. And if it's at the end of the day, I just want you guys to understand is for every person we can get prepping, that's one less person to worry about. And sadly, the statistics are true. If SHTF happens, 90% of the population would go very quickly. My goal was set out a long time ago was to make that number only 80%. Whether that is teaching about victory gardens. Sorry, I had a phone call. Whether that is teaching about victory gardens, or if it's encouraging others to grow their own food, preserve their own food, store up on medications, just natural disaster preparation, or ultimately I do prepare for SHTF. I prepare for a world without rule of law. And you notice that people are getting very nervous with, especially with some of the news that's going on. You know, you got 2 nuclear submarines outside of Russia, and that is on every single news outlet. And then you have people who come in, they say, well, you really don't think that there's been nuclear submarines out there? Of course I do. Of course I do. However, when they're making a public statement like that, we have to look past just the general headlines. One of my favorite quotes forever is Kevin Bacon in that movie, you know, the Obamas produced, but it's Kevin Bacon's line. And he says, you gotta look past the first page on the news. You have to stop reading just the first page, because we see what's leading up, and we've seen it for a long time. Most of us have been doing this for years, decades. My family has done it forever. I've done it forever. I carry on what they have taught me, and I am trying to make their dreams, even though some of them have passed away, of creating a family compound that is completely self-sufficient, and that I'm still carrying that torch for them. And whether others want to do the same, or if they don't, that's fine. But for the news that's going on and how close we are getting towards a possible World War III scenario, I'm going to be focusing on our property. We have over 80 acres, and it's very remote, and it takes a lot of physical labor to get that going. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, is making sure I'm bringing in some of the storage that we need out here for just in case. There's a mosquito in front of me. But the thing I want you to take away from that interview is, no, I'm not a red flag for taking that interview. Honestly, I'm more baffled by the way that they wrote it. I'm not upset, I'm not angry, I'm baffled, because most of the time it's not a humanitarian autobiography, positive light. If anything, that should encourage more people to want to prep. But other people have thought that because I was featured in these articles, red flag, I can't believe you're honored to be on media. If you go back a year ago, sorry, there is bugs out here. If you go back a year ago when the New York Post ran a story on me, it was, she's prepping for World War III. She's nuts. She's crazy. And I can't believe she's doing this. In the comments section below, it was like, I can't believe it. Same with Truly. If you guys saw the interview that I did with Truly, Truly tried to spin us as crazy as possible. One of my favorite lines that I said on the Truly episode was, we prep for everything. We prep for everything. Your kids go through lockdowns in their school and they go through active shooter drills because they are preparing. Sorry, this bug is really up in my face right now. But your kids go through lockdown drills. Not in case that a lockdown is going to happen tomorrow, but just in case something happens. Why is it so controversial for people to be prepared for natural disasters or an emergency or anything that may actually happen? Natural disasters happen all the time. Flash flooding is happening on a rapid basis. There's earthquakes, there's tsunami warnings, there's fires. I mean, I live in Utah and we have a huge fire that's barely like 10% contained. Why is it so impossible for others to wrap their mind around it? And then why are they so angry? Because there was a good piece written. It was a good piece. It was a good article. I'm actually impressed by it. They could have said she's nuts, she's damaging her kids by encouraging this weird way of lifestyles, but instead it was positive and it shed some good positive light on our current world, and it's everywhere. The person who did the interview with me wasn't MSN, it wasn't Fox. It was a gentleman, and he is from the UK, and he wanted to do a follow-up piece on a piece that was written a year ago. Because a year ago, when I did a piece with them, people turned it into, she's crazy for thinking that World War III is going to happen. It's been a year and a half. I'm not so crazy now, am I? See, I'm waiting for that next shoe to drop, and I don't know how many of you guys are too. How many of you guys are waiting for that next shoe to drop? That next news article, or an announcement of war, or inflation, or more tariffs, or a new chemical that they want to spray your food with, for crying out loud. We're always waiting for the next shoe to drop because we're really close. We're really close, and things don't look so great. They truly don't look so great. And for those who are upset that I did an article, I mean, I guess I could just put on my gas mask and a shovel and then like call a producer to try to get onto a TV show and make my kids sit out there and dig. We're just going to dig a hole because drama sells. What I take is what I do is I encourage you guys to just do more, to prep a little bit more and know you're not crazy, and know it's not a crazy lifestyle that we live in. It's a practical lifestyle. We're living practically in a very uncertain world. And if any quote that I say that maybe carries on into your heart, or when somebody tries to tear you down, is, I want you to realize that people feel like when SHTF happens, the world ends, something happens, a natural disasters, you're gonna rise up and you're gonna be this superhero. You've read all the books and you know all the things, but you've never practiced the skills. So you're gonna rise up and you're gonna be this phenomenal prepper that's gonna be able to continue life past a time where life might not be continuable. And everyone thinks that they're going to rise to that, but they're truly going to fall to their level of preparedness. That's what's going to happen. You will only fall when SHTF happens to the level you're already prepared at. And that is something that I would hope more people would be inspired by. More people to say, no, I do want to grow more food. Yes, I want to preserve more food. Yes, I want to know how to use my solar panels. And yes, I want to know how to dig a well, or to, build a sustainable shelter. I want to know how to trek the land. I want to know how to locate water. I want to know how to filtrate water. I want to know how to hunt and forage for my own food. I would hope that articles that are written like that, and that shows prepping in a good light, you guys would think about it instead of she's negative, or I can't believe she did that, and what a sellout. And start thinking about it as she's trying to motivate the next generation. There's only a few of our generations left that grew up in this lifestyle. I don't know very many people that are the same age as me that grew up doing this. But why not encourage just one more prepper, just one more person preparing? I'm sorry, my camera cut off because I ran out of memory. But why wouldn't we want to encourage just a little bit more of self-sustainability? Why wouldn't we want to encourage that younger generation to come in, that they don't really have to do everything that is cool or what is desired, living that suburban lifestyle? I admit it, our primary home lives in a very suburban area, and we plan to move out here within the next year, 2 years, and our kids want that. Our kids want to be removed off of the busy lifestyle, the extra pressure, the constant need to fit in on what society wants. Why are we trying to create a world where people are desiring to be dependent on a system that hasn't been working for decades? See, it took us hundreds of years to get to where we are in society, and it's taken only about 30 years to destroy those methods to get us there. The skills, growing your own food, preserving it. It wasn't long ago during World War II that victory gardens were what saved lives. So for those who are reporting or commenting in on the article I was on, and it's so positive and nice, I want to say thank you. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm hoping that this encourages people to want to live the same lifestyle that we live, because it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's great. And it's not fear. It's not fear mongering. It's not, just constant anxiety. It's peaceful. And I hope that others would want to strive to live a very peaceful, happy life. I mean, you can't even beat the views. You can't beat the views. And I can't wait for the day that we have the cabin built, right where we're at. That's right where it's going to be built. And I can't wait for it. Because us preppers, we're building a new nation. We see what's coming. And the fact that the news media is reporting on things that, I've been making these videos for years on the internet. What do they know that we don't know, guys? I feel we all know that something is coming. As always, stay prepared, stay aware, always have your head on a swivel, and tell me what you're preparing for down in the comments.